Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the new and emerging female entrepreneur. Today, I have a special guest here, and we're going to be talking about some things that I've never talked about on the show before. And I'm actually also going to have her pronounce her last name so I don't mess it up because I'm super bad about this. But Lien, will you tell us your last name and then also tell us a little bit about how you came to be a female entrepreneur?
Oh, thank you, Amie. It's such an honor and a privilege for me to be here. Yes, my surname is Potgieter. It actually means pot and watering can, if you put the two together. And it's sort of Dutch, German, from a long time ago, but I live in Johannesburg in South Africa.
Oh.
So how I came to be an entrepreneur is I think I always was an entrepreneur. I remember my dad working in a bookshop, and so we had lots of books. And I used to play with these books and sell them, or imagine I'm a librarian, and sell them to invisible, people and clients and customers. And later on, I had a business called Rolling Bread, where I delivered milk and bread to people's houses early in the morning. And then I did I think the normal thing is to get a corporate job after studying, but it just wasn't for me. I just couldn't play the corporate game. I needed my freedom, I needed my independence, I needed to express myself creatively. And so about 13 years ago, I started my own business. So the first business was, I'm actually still doing that as well, as a communication specialist. So I started in communication. I did basically freelance writing, editing, proofreading, and translating. And then about 8 years ago, I discovered the power of color and color therapy, and to use color as a tool for self-development. And that's when I started the color option, which is my pride and my joy.
Okay, I love that. And working, as an artist, and I love to paint, color's a big thing for me. And, working in branding and different other things, I feel like, learning a little bit about color psychology, I feel like color is such a huge, subconscious influence in our lives, right? Like the color red means something, the color yellow means something, and it triggers different feelings, emotions, thoughts, and we don't even think about it. And I think I think it's super interesting. What made you decide or how did you come to the decision that you would put all these amazing things together and put it out there into the world?
So you know how life happens. So I stumbled upon color by accident, actually. I went through a very traumatic time in my life, and I was basically forced by the universe, I suppose, to look inside and to see what is actually happening. Who am I really? Where do my fears and my doubts and all those things come from? And what was actually happening is that I attracted the same kind of person over and over again in my life. So I learned my lessons through relationships. And it was after one of these episodes that I decided, listen, no, this is not the way I want to live my life. And I started looking for help from maybe traditional psychologists and a more traditional way of doing things. And then I actually stumbled upon color therapy, and I never ever knew that there was such a thing as color therapy. And then I looked for someone in Johannesburg who could teach me this thing called color therapy. And I actually found someone. So that for me was a sign. I enrolled in the course immediately, and I basically took to it like a duck to water. My teacher was just, no, I think you probably did this in a past life or somewhere else because you just get it. And from that first day when I started my first color therapy module, I simply loved it. And it took me a while, and that's part of the journey, I suppose, is to really find my niche with color and to turn it into a business. And for me, I love the self-development part of color because you can learn so much about yourself, your past, your journey, your wounds, your hidden gifts and talents just by way of color. And as you say, it's a subconscious thing, even an unconscious thing, because I think we take color for granted. It's everywhere. It's in our homes. It's in nature. It's in our food. It's in our dress. It's in our words. So we get red with rage or green with envy, and but we take it for granted. And the moment I became color conscious, my whole world just changed.
I love that. And I feel like, and even myself, like, I've never, I mean, I enjoy things that are colorful, but I've never really put a ton of thought into the meaning or the mood or the emotion behind a color. It's just like, oh, if I like it, then I like it. But to know, getting into all the color psychology and all of the kind of underlying stuff, I find that really, really fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. And like I say, once you've become color conscious, you will see color in a completely different light. It is just like the whole world lights up. So for me, I don't know if all people are like this, but I I will stop and stare at a color. I would be busy with something or walking somewhere or doing my shopping or driving somewhere, and I would see a beautiful bright color, and that would immediately, I would stop and stare literally, and I would just immerse myself in that beautiful color in that moment. And for me, it also has become a way to live more mindfully because it immediately brings you back to the moment and the magic and mystery in life. And it has really given my life a deeper meaning just by noticing the colors around me. And the other way that I use it is the colors that pop up, the colors that stand out is actually, I interpret them as signs of the next step in my personal evolution, the next lesson that I have to learn, the next thing about myself that I need to discover. And once you know the hidden meanings of the color, you will see that, oh wow, suddenly yellow just stands out. Like you've never liked yellow, you've never really noticed it, but suddenly if you see it in clothes, if you see it in fashion, you see it everywhere, and that has a meaning. So that's how I use color for my own personal development, is to start noticing the colors that stand out at a specific point in time.
Yeah, and I noticed that too. Like, so kind of an admission here. I'm kind of addicted to watching the home improvement shows that they have, like Fixer Upper and stuff. And I've noticed recently, like gray is like a new trending color. What do you have like any interpretation for colors that are trending?
Yes, definitely. I think there's almost like a universal consciousness that this is the color that the world needs or that we need. So I don't know if you've seen that Pantone has recently, about 2, 3 days ago, actually announced the color of the year. The color for next year is coral. It's also to make people more aware of the coral reefs, and that we need to take more care of those and care of the earth. So there's definitely that global consciousness, and there's a reason why they decide to choose these colors. Um, in color psychology and color theory, gray is it's sort of a very stable color. Um, Especially in interior design, it's a nice background, so all other colors stand out more against gray. But I would be careful to use too much gray, as it could also mean that you are sort of undecided. You're not going this way, neither that way. And also the corporate world uses a lot of gray. And in my opinion, it is also to sort of keep people not too creative, so not to stand out too much, not to think outside of the box too much. They want to keep us in a almost in a straight line. So although I personally love gray, I'm very careful not to overuse it.
That makes such perfect sense, actually.
It does. Gray is really like I'm in between. I'm undecided. But like I said, I love it, but we'd be very careful. And it can also be a very cold color. There's not a lot of life in gray.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, so talking about the color of the year next year, I love that coral. And when we look into the deeper meaning of the color coral, it is all about the inner child and the joy from within, so that we are not so dependent on others or things outside of ourselves to make us happy, but that joy and that bliss comes from within. So we have to spend more time with children and see the world through their eyes, become like a child again, and just see the wonder and the magic and mystery in the everyday.
It's so funny that you bring up the color coral, because the sweatshirt that I'm wearing today is coral. and,
Wow.
and we obviously didn't discuss this, these colors before, and I didn't even know there was a color of the year. So I find that really interesting, actually.
Yeah, synchronicity is amazing.
Yes. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about, your business. And I know you do like color assessments, and you do all different kinds of stuff to really help, female entrepreneurs and moms, and, help us out with our color schemes and our color designs, and making sure that, we understand the colors that we're using. Can you tell us a little bit about the color assessments that you offer and how that works?
Yes, the color assessments are actually amazing. I've done, since I've started my business, I probably did more than 3,000 color assessments.
Oh my.
Yes, it's absolutely fascinating, and I love to see people's reactions. It's a very accurate way of determining the. Okay, let me tell you first how I do it. So I have about 18 different colors that I would present to you in the form of little of essential oils. I then ask you to close your eyes, and then you pick 7 of those colors. Now, lots of people tell me, listen, I know already which colors I'm going to choose because I know my favorite colors. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, let's see. But the moment you open your eyes, you will be amazed at which colors stand out or jump out at you. And usually they're not your favorite colors. So then I interpret these colors, because we put them in a specific structure or a specific order, and I translate them into the following things. So the first thing is your physical, where you hold stress on a physical level. So some people get headaches when they stress. Some people suffer with lower back pain. Some people get a funny feeling here in their solar plexus. So that means something on a deeper level. So then you go a little bit deeper into the emotion or the thought behind this feeling in your body, this physical manifestation. So this could tell you then it is actually a way to prevent serious illness, to say that, hey, listen, the body is telling you to stop and see where this is coming from. So rather sort it out before it becomes too serious. Then the second color is your emotions. So we have this habitual way of reacting to a stressful situation. So you either immediately doubt yourself, and you feel fear. You distance yourself from the problem, and you stick your head in the sand. So that's the way we sort of have learned over time how to deal with stress on an emotional level. And we see how can you make that, how can you do it better next time? How can you do it differently so that it serves you and not work against you? So I'm also very much, I love emotional intelligence as well. So because I myself, I'm a very emotional person, and I really had to learn on this journey, entrepreneurial journey, how to control and manage my emotions, but also how to release and process the ones that I really needed to work on. So that's the emotional side. So this is a whole holistic way of looking at the person right in front of me. Then the third color is how you think. So how have you been either taught to think, or also a pattern that you've built up over years and years and years of maybe conditioning and unconscious thought. So what's your mindset when it comes to yourself, the world, and your journey as an entrepreneur? Do you believe the world is for you? Do you believe the universe has your back? Or do you always see the negative? Do you tend to go to the negative side um, in life? And then the fourth color tells me the heart of the matter. So why has this all sort of culminated to this point? And what has happened that has made you feel, think, and believe in the way that you do at this very moment? And then the fifth and the sixth colors I interpret as your hidden gifts and talents. So maybe you are aware of the fact that you actually are quite a good writer, but you haven't explored that yet. Or maybe you don't know how to unearth that skill or get better at writing. So that's also amazing to see that, wow, I didn't know. I've sort of known that I'm a good speaker, but I've never really thought of using that in my journey or for my business, for business purposes. And then the last color, and I'm also very much a lover of purpose, and I've only discovered that I have a purpose and what my purpose is through color therapy is that last color is your future self or your potential or your purpose. And all the different colors in the different positions then have a very specific meaning for the person. So it's a very, very personalized assessment of exactly who you are, sort of where you come from and where you can go and what your potential and purpose is in this lifetime.
I am like blown away at how much color impacts us. Like I really had no idea. I just really didn't. And I love that you work with essential oils too to get this going.
Yes, absolutely, because color has a frequency or a vibration, and so do essential oils, also music, also words, all of that. And you can actually measure the frequency of, say, the color red, and
Uh-huh.
then you measure the frequency of, for example, rosemary oil, and that they vibrate at the same frequency. So if you need red, more red in your life, which means you need to be more grounded, you need more energy and vitality, you would use rosemary oil, either in a burner or in your bath or whatever. So you can actually then equate or link the different colors to different essential oils. And the same goes for music. So the musical note C, middle C on the piano, for example, is equal to red. Um, and red music is coincidentally African beat because it's very strong. It's very it's sort of heavy, and that also brings you down to earth. And that's all to do with the color red.
Oh, I like that. I love, I know that everything, whether it's a number or a color or, everything has its own like vibration, which I think a lot of people don't even realize, and they don't realize that this is, scientifically proven. A lot of people just kind of think about energy as, kind of woo woo, whatever, but it is
Mm,
science. It is scientifically proven. We're all everything is made up of atoms and neutrons and electrons and all that kind of stuff. So, we are an energetic, everything's energetic. And so marrying those together I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely. And we are also an electric system. The body is an electric system, yep, because we also vibrate. And that's actually the scientific reason, or the reason behind the fact that color affects us so much, because it vibrates and we vibrate. And where the two meet, there's a hopefully a harmonious meeting. And that's, like you say, there's scientific evidence for all of these so-called woo-woo things nowadays, and that's truly amazing. So it's all this spiritual, beautiful spiritual stuff being backed by science.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see that the societal norm is shifting more towards, adapting to, color therapies and other types of modalities as mainstream, right? Essential oils and other things. Because I feel like they're so beneficial in so many ways. So how could, I was looking over your website, and I know you have a few different things, but when you do like a mood reading, is that the one that you use the essential oils with, or?
I use for the mood reading as well as the color assessment. I use the essential oils.
Okay.
So in that instance, or I can use color cards or anything that's the colors that I use. So as long as you can see that this is red or green or blue, so you can either use the essential oils, or you can use like a card, or even a bead, or anything that's in that color to basically translate the colors into emotions, into thoughts. And so the color mood reading is to see, where am I now? So what are the energies or the feelings or the thoughts that I have uppermost in my mind at the moment, whether it's positive or more challenging? And then what other things are coming into my life that I can use to mitigate, or to make my life a little bit easier if you're going through a challenge, or to see the lesson in the experience that I have in the moment, because there's always a lesson. And if we start seeing life like that, it has a lot more meaning. It makes a lot more sense. It becomes so much easier when you see every single thing, every single person you meet, every single opportunity, every experience as a lesson to evolve as a person. Then, like I say, life is really so much easier and so more and much more joyful.
Yeah, and I can totally see how that is. I think that my mind is like seriously just blown right now. I'm totally like I'm totally in love with this color concept thing, that all the wheels in my head are actually like turning, like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and you know what else is, this whole we live so much for the outside, and I'm an introvert, so for me it sort of makes perfect sense not to always live for the outside world. But what I've also found with color is that with branding, we choose colors that we think will attract our ideal client, or the world would love this color, or this is the trend. Instead of going within and seeing, but which colors actually makes us feel better, which color supports me, which color makes me feel more creative and productive. And I absolutely believe, as solopreneurs or as any business owner, rather go within, because a logo or a brand is so much more than that. And when you have it around you while you're working with it, or working in and on your business, and you are conscious of the colors that you've chosen, and these colors mean something to you, not only do you have a story to tell about your brand and your logo and your brand colors, but it also reflects your soul, it reflects your soul purpose, it reflects your personality, and in the background, it actually supports you. Because, for example, my three colors are the gold, the pink, and the green. And when I'm surrounded by those colors while I'm working, I just absolutely feel it doesn't feel like I'm working. Or maybe I feel a little bit down, or I'm a little bit doubtful about something, and I just look at my colors in my brand and my logo, and I immediately feel uplifted. So I just think it's so important that we rather go within, choose the colors for our brand and our business from a sort of personal point of view and how they support us, and then give it to the world instead of the other way around.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And without even knowing about, these different, color implementations, I picked a color in my branding, kind of based around, like, it was like a favorite color, but like I had this pair of rose gold shoes that I bought. And when I wear those shoes, I just feel so high vibe. And some people are probably listening to this thinking that I'm like super wacky. I just love, I don't know. I just love those shoes. I love wearing them. I don't wear them often because they don't really go with everything in my wardrobe, which most of my wardrobe these days is yoga pants, but they just raise my vibe. So I totally understand what you mean by being surrounded by colors that just, make you feel better and lift you up.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you say that it raises your vibe, because that's exactly what color does. And I always also suggest to my clients, because you do have your inner colors, but we also have this world of outer colors, is to wear specific colors when you want a specific outcome or when you want to feel in a certain way. And one example of this is that the color turquoise, which is the color of mass communication. So you'll see that Twitter and most of the technology companies use a lot of turquoise in their branding, because it is the color of mass communication, and also the digital era that we live in, or the era of technology, is that when you speak to a large group of people, wear the color turquoise, because it makes you feel confident. It aligns you. So what I say, what I feel, what I think, and what I do are all in alignment. It makes you vulnerable because people want to connect to your heart space. And when they connect to your heart and you're on an emotional level, they're more likely to actually buy from you, as if that's the purpose, because they see you as exactly the way you are. But at the same time, it's the color turquoise supports you to feel more confident and to speak your truth, especially when you're on stage. So you can definitely, that's amazing. And yes, you must actually just try it. I always tell people, because they're a little bit like, oh, is this really true? Does it really work? And then I say, well, why don't you try it and see? And it's amazing the feedback that I get, that, wow, it really made a difference. I did not believe it, but it made a huge difference to how people perceive me and the way I presented myself or projected myself.
Yeah. And see, most of us, we look for a color when we're going to get on stage or speak, and we're like, which is the most flattering, which is the most slimming, instead of which is to really make us stand up there with confidence. Because if you've got a confident message and you're delivering it with, all that confident power, nobody's going to be paying attention to what you're wearing. They're going to be like, yeah, like this lady's on fire.
Absolutely. And you are actually, in a way, influencing them on a subconscious level. They don't know why this is so powerful, or this, but you come across as very confident, and which you are, but there's a subconscious message that they're getting, and which are not even aware of. So that's the power of color.
Wow. So amazing. So much good stuff here. I'm gonna take advantage of your free offer here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? Because I feel like so many people listening could really, really have a neat experience, and maybe even have their minds completely blown by learning a little bit more about how the colors they've chosen are impacting their lives and their business and their confidence and everything else. Can you tell us a little bit about the freebie that you've offered up for everybody today?
Yes, so I actually have 2 freebies, and I also have a third one, which is amazing. I've recently launched an app called Feel Great with Color. And it's to help you with your emotional intelligence. So I found that as an entrepreneur and as a woman, I've often get so stuck. I think I've mentioned this also earlier, that I get stuck in my negative or challenging emotions. And I've never known how to pinpoint or name. I didn't even have a word for this feeling that I have. And what I've done with the app is I've listed and color-coded 21 everyday human emotions that we sometimes let us rule our lives and our businesses and our day and ruin our day, basically. So what you do is you pick the emotion that you're feeling, and then I offer you, or the app offers you 6 quick, I call it fixes, or options to feel better instantly. And these are all natural options, like the music, the essential oils, the words that I can say, and the color that I can wear. So I can either eat red apples to feel more, if I'm exhausted, I can wear it, I can use the red essential oil, or I can listen to red music. So my app is, for the moment, that's free, so you can download it for free on my website. But then I also have a soul color guide. So I call it Soul Colors That Sell. And with that, I help you to determine your color personality, because I believe you have to bring in your color personality into your branding, on your personal branding, and then also your purpose color. So how to determine what your purpose in life is, and then assign a color to that purpose. So, for example, if you are here to create, whatever it is that you need to create, that is associated with the color orange. So you don't have to have this bright orange in your logo if you don't like it, but have it in your space, for example, somewhere. So that's the other one. And then I also have a purpose guide. So if you're struggling with purpose, which I also found with many of my clients, is that they don't know. They know that they want to make an impact. They know they want to make a difference. They have kind of an idea of what the purpose is, but they want someone to affirm or confirm it for them. And I can do that with a color assessment as well. So I also have it freebie to get a little bit closer to what that purpose is, and then cement it and make it a one-word thing, and then how you can use your hidden gifts and talents and skills, or your existing skills and experience, to make this purpose-driven business come to life. So yes, so there's an option, and I think that's why my business is called the color option. I love options myself. So I have 3 options for your guests today.
Amazing. I love it. This has been so enlightening and so much fun. I'm so excited for all of our listeners to be able to take advantage of these amazing gift options and really start to, be conscious about some of these kind of subconscious things, using color and some of the other modalities that you've introduced to us today. I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show and really shedding some light on the power of color in not just our everyday lives, but also how it impacts our business and how other people view us.
Thank you, Amie. And it was really a pleasure to talk with you. I have to tell you that it's midnight here in South Africa.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. But I really thank you so much for the opportunity, and I would love to share color all over the world. So this is a great opportunity for me, and I believe that so many people can benefit just by simply becoming more color conscious.
I agree. I fully agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amie.